So this video is all about clicker training and what we call charging the clicker. Now, if you haven't done clicker training, but you have done marker training, such as yes, or good, or jackpot, or bingo, then it's a very similar concept. In fact, it's the same concept. It's just instead of a verbal marker, it's an audible marker, which is a clicker. So clickers come in all different shapes and sizes. The one that I'm using is called an iClick. And it's just a small button on the end of the plastic device, and it comes with a little bit of a little wrist strap as well, so it means that it can just hang, and I've got both hands free, and when I need to use the clicker, I can bring that forward and press. So the clicker training, stage one anyway, is arguably the easiest thing that the dog could ever do. What we work on is what we call charging the click. Now, when you're practicing this in the house, the clicker can be quite a loud sound. So my advice would be, if you started out using this in the house and the dog's never heard it before, is put it in your pocket to press the click, or wrap like a towel or something around to muffle the sound, because it's quite a distinctive sound, but it can echo quite a lot. And some dogs become panicked of the clicker, which by that point, if they become worried by it, we can't use it again. So we want to start off nice and easy. So the game is, the dog hears the click, the dog gets a piece of food. It is that simple. It's the easiest thing the dog can work on. So I'm going to put this one in my pocket. Even though Finn's used to the clicker, I'm going to start off and show you how to work it. So, click starts first, and then food. And that's it. As long as the dog isn't doing anything unwanted, you're good to go. So if he was sat, or if he was standing, if he was watching me, or as he is now, lying down, I am just going to work on what we call charging the clicker, which is click first, and then treat. And you'll notice I'm trying to click first and then follow it up with the food. It's not a major issue if you've already got food in your hand and you click and treat. But what we want to try and teach the dogs is that you're not always going to have food present, as in your hand. It might always be delivered, but you might not always have it in your hand. So my advice would be, try and keep that hand free. Have a pot or a pouch, or have them in your pocket. And then the click comes first, and then you reward from there. Now, when I'm starting off with a clicker, I would bring this out for probably a minute or 2 minutes at a time, and I might do that 3 times a day. The clicker comes out, you charge the clicker up with some nice tasty food, and my advice again would be, make sure you're using high value treats for this, not just the dog's kibble. You want the dog to hear this click and think that something very special is about to happen, and if you're using the dog's kibble, they might not make that association. So always look for something higher value than their kibble or their food or whatever they're getting at that point. So like we said at the beginning, this arguably the easiest thing the dog can ever do. Just be a good boy, get a click, get some food. Okay, so now that you have charged the click, one thing to mention is that if you are using a marker word, you can still use the clicker. You just don't use it at the same time. So I could do a whole session with just the clicker, and then the next session I could do the whole session with the yes marker. The reason why I use clickers actually is just because when I've got this in my hand, Finn starts to learn or starts to see that as a cue for work and training. So if I'm trying to strengthen a cue, or teach a new behaviour, I'll bring this out and he starts to think, we're in work mode, I can do something for a reward now as well. But that doesn't necessarily mean that I don't use the yes, because if I'm in the house and he does something that I'm happy with, I would use yes, because I may not have the clicker handy. The only thing you would need to think about is not to use the clicker and the yes at the same time, or your clicker and your marker word. That is it. So now that we've charged the clicker, we're going to use it in our training exercises and training setups. So what I'm going to do is just ask Finn for a simple behaviour such as a sit or a down. When he has performed that behaviour, I am going to click, and then I'm going to reward. And again, I'm going to try and keep the food out of the hands at this point, because I would like to instruct the behaviour first, wait to see that behaviour performed, then mark, then reward. I don't mind using treats to show the dog what to do in the early stages, but it's not something I want to rely on forevermore. So I'm going to ask him for a down, but I'll throw the treat away seeing as he already is in the down at that point. Finn, down. So click when the behaviour was seen, and then follow that up with the food. We'll try that one again. In, down. Nice work. Well done. And then I'm just going to try a couple of sits now as well. Finn, sit. Now Finn has a sneaky habit of lying down straight after the sit. So what I try and do is get the click in just that little bit quicker before he then tries to move into the down. Sit. Nice work. And then just to show off, because we've been doing some little exercises recently, is when I present my foot, what usually happens is he matches the same side with his paw. And I'll do it with the other foot as well. Well done. And again, the clicker is just pinpoint accuracy. So the second his paw touches my foot with the correct side, that's better, well chosen. Then he gets the click and then he gets the treat. Nice work, well done. Enough. So that's your clicker training exercises. It's the same as the marker word. It's just a slightly different sound. But the thing about the clicker, which is what I really like, lots of things that I like about the clicker, is that you can replicate that sound every single time you press the click. Whereas the yes, you might not necessarily be able to replicate the exact yes every single time. So clickers for me are when I am strengthening behaviours, when I am teaching new exercises, and also really good for when I'm doing reactivity training with dogs as well, because that sound is a very unique, specific sound to the dog, which really helps them start to respond in different areas. So have a little practice, see how you get on, and as always, let us know if you've got any comments that you want to make, or drop us a line and we will help out as much as we can.